Today, I'm revealing a blueprint for a four-stock portfolio designed to crush the S&P 500. It is anchored by a major index fund, powered by a massive AI winner and an explosive beverage disruptor, and it's shielded by a financial fortress. But before I give you the exact tickers, you have to understand the three portfolio rules that make this specific mix work. If you ignore these rules, concentration will destroy your wealth instead of building it. Let's look at rule number one, building a bulletproof foundation. So rule number one is that concentration requires a bulletproof foundation. We aren't just going to pick four random individual stocks and hope for the best. 50% of this entire strategy is anchored by a world-class diversified fund. This foundation will act as shock absorbers so we can safely take massive swings with our remaining capital. This strong foundation ensures that one little thing that might go wrong doesn't make our portfolio house come crumbling down. Rule number two is structural non-correlation. If your foundation fund is heavy in tech, your individual stock picks cannot all be tech companies because if then tech crashes, your whole portfolio will bleed. By intentionally spreading our remaining slots across entirely different industries, we ensure that when one sector is down, another asset is holding the line. So while I love the tech sector just as much as the next person, in order for a four stock portfolio to be successful and not completely crumble if one thing doesn't go exactly the way we need it to go, we need to ensure that we're having coverage across multiple areas of the market. All right, looking at core principle number three, we are going to look at maximizing asymmetrical upside. So because rule number one gives us a 50% safety net, rule number three means our remaining slots must focus purely on asymmetrical upside. We are not using our precious individual slots on some slow moving 2% dividend company. We are targeting high conviction disruptors with the clear operational runway to double or triple over the next 5 years. The foundation gives us safety. These picks give us the fuel to actually beat the market. So without this core foundation over here, we would not be able to take the risk of focusing on high upside growth plays. Now let's get into the reveal for the four stock portfolio. So starting off with our foundation anchor, instead of buying a broad S&P 500 fund like VU, we are using Triple Q as our 50% anchor. This right off the bat has historically beat the S&P 500 and it provides a rock solid low cost base that ensures that we never fall critically behind the broader market trend while we hunt for the alpha elsewhere. And investing in the Qs, it automatically gives us exposure to some of the biggest world-class innovators like Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, AMD, Google, Tesla, Meta, and so on. But it also filters out the slow moving legacy sectors like utilities or brick and mortar retail plays. And a little bonus tip here, if you want to go one better than triple Q, you could instead swap it out for QQQM. And the reason being is the expense ratio is slightly lower, which means you will get slightly higher returns then, as you can see by their historical CAGR. Both of these funds are nearly identical. Next up, our AI winner, Palantir. So Palantir, I have a 2030 price target of $500, and Palantir is having absolutely explosive growth, which is why they are finding their way into this four stock portfolio. And right off the bat, I know you're thinking, wait, Palantir is already in the queues. Why are we buying it again? So Palantir makes up less than 2% weighting of the queues. So that is just not enough to move the needle. So that's why we are boosting Palantir another 20% because of its unprecedented US commercial growth and its unique position as the operating system for both government and corporate America. And right here, you can see how I get to $500 by 2030 for Palantir. I made a deep dive going into exactly how I got to these projections. I'll go ahead and include the link somewhere up above if you want to go check out those videos where I dive in deep into how I got to these. But from the high level, what do we see with Palantir? Revenue is absolutely exploding, nearly getting to triple digits overall revenue growth last quarter. And their US commercial business accelerated to 149% year over year growth. And their CEO said that they expect this rate to be equal or above for the next 18 months. So through the end of 2027, US commercial is going to be growing 150% plus. And when we look at percent of total revenue, US commercial alone makes up 40% of their total revenue. And total US revenue is now up to over 81%. So with US commercial continuing to grow 150% plus for the next 18 months, that is going to have a tremendous impact to overall revenue. And from a margin standpoint, we can see that gross margin is now up to nearly 85%. And net margin has absolutely exploded to about 50%. So Palantir is not only exploding from the revenue standpoint, but their margins are also exploding, which means their operational efficiency is tremendous. So as they're continuing to bring in more and more customers and continuing to expand with their existing customers, their profitability is exploding at a faster pace than their revenue is growing, which makes them a key piece to this four stock portfolio. Next up, let's go ahead and bring in a beverage disruptor, Celsius, which is now a three brand portfolio after they acquired Alani Nu and Rockstar last year. And one note with Rockstar, they only own Rockstar in the US and Canada. Pepsi retains their international ownership of them. And really, Celsius is driving a generational habit switch. So when the energy drink industry started a couple decades ago, it was really focused on the gamer industry, concerts, action sports. Now there's a generational switch, especially with the younger generations, where they're focused on energy drinks that are more focused on lifestyle and health benefits that Celsius is largely driving. And for Celsius, I have a 2030 price target of $100. And if you want to see me go into more depth about how I got to these projections, I made some past videos diving into the exact reasoning behind these. I'll include that link somewhere up above as well. So, as mentioned, Celsius now is a three brand portfolio, which is critical for their future success because these three brands cover very different customer demographics, with Alani focused heavily on the female demographic, which historically in the energy drink industry had been a largely forgotten demographic that Rockstar, Monster, Red Bull had completely ignored, and Alani Nu has really captured this younger female demographic. And then you got Rockstar, which brings in the traditional energy drink play that focuses on gamers, concerts and festivals, action sports, blue collar work, and it's mainly focused on the male demographic. And then you got Celsius, that is kind of a balance between the two, very split between female and male demographic. And they started and really focus on the fitness and wellness area. So these three brands, they do not cannibalize each other. Rather, they focus on very different areas of the energy drink consumers. And now they have an energy drink product for whatever customer walks into the store that day. And if we look at revenue growth over the past 5 years, they've grown on an average clip of 70%. And this growth is largely only in the US because their international growth is barely a drop in the bucket. And if you look at recent quarters, you would say, what is going on with their profitability? It's up, it's down, and it's down some more, it's up. But over the past several quarters, they've had a ton of temporary headwinds that they're just starting to get past now. As you can see with the estimates, they're projected to get back on track with profitability and start accelerating there as well. And those headwinds they're facing, the main ones they're facing is SKU optimization. So they're getting the low hanging fruit, underperforming flavors off the shelf. So they're only offering what the customers want. Integration with global distributor, they integrated with Pepsi recently. So switching over to Pepsi's network during this time frame, handling outside noise, calling for leadership change. Because of SKU optimization, they saw a drop in the core brand sales. And then Alani Nu has a wrongful death lawsuit that they're handling currently. And for people not familiar with the industry, they would think, wow, is this unique just to Celsius? Nope, absolutely not. These have all been faced by others within the energy drink industry. Monster faced these all in the past and has been able to get past them and move on. If you want to see me talk about more information specifically about these headwinds to learn if any of these we should be worried about, and also review how Monster handled them in the past, I also dove specifically into the headwinds in another video. I'll include that link up above. Go ahead and check that out if you're interested. Currently, international only makes up a little over 3% of their total revenue, and they have a 2031 goal for that to expand to 15%. So international is expected over the next 5 years to at least 4x or 5x in that time frame. And if you look on the map, of where they currently sell, you can see that they're just beginning to expand in Western Europe and Australia. But the rest of the global countries are largely untapped. So, tons of more markets for them to enter into over the next decade or two. So, Celsius provides a massive growth engine in the consumer goods. So, we're not only focused on tech doing all the heavy lifting. All right, our fourth stock, Visa. So, when interest rates fluctuate or growth stocks experience a brutal market rotation, we need a shield. Visa operates a near monopoly duopoly with a consistent 50% plus net margin. It behaves like a tech compounder, but provides rock solid defense outside of Silicon Valley. They do 71 billion plus transaction every quarter. So whenever that physical card or digital card is swiping, they're collecting a fee. And if you look globally, whether we're looking at global credit transactions or number of physical or digital credit cards, Visa is number one in both. And projections through 2030. So while not as exciting as a growth play like Palantir or Celsius, Visa still comes in and beats the S&P with a CAGR through 2030 of 12 to 19%. Because at the end of the day, people are always going to continue to buy whether they're swiping their card or digitally buying online. And Visa will continue to collect those fees year after year. So while it won't have as explosive growth, it's going to give you a steady, safe, consistent delivery of growth quarter after quarter, year after year. And if we look going all the way back to 2013, from a revenue standpoint, year after year, they deliver more growth. The only time they had a slight pullback was in 2020. So it took a global shutdown where everyone was locked inside and governments were shutting down every business for several months for Visa not to grow year over year from revenue. And even then, it wasn't that big of a miss. And we look at profitability going back the past decade, consistently growing. And we can see recently they are starting to accelerate their growth with this year projections of net income growing nearly 26%. And Visa has some of the most impressive margins in all of the stock market. Gross margin at almost 98%, operating margin 60% plus, net margin 50% plus. So if we look at how this four stock portfolio allocation would look like, so we start with that foundation anchor with the Qs of 50%. Then we focus on a tech upside play like Palantir for the next 20%. Then we bring in consumer discretionary growth with Celsius for another 20%. And then we bring in a financial stabilizer in Visa for the remaining 10%. Because if the growth plays end up getting hit, we have this 10% then for Visa to help stabilize our portfolio until we can get through that bear market. At the end of the day, Wall Street wants you to believe that beating the market is impossible. So you just keep paying them fees, but you now hold the exact blueprint to take control of your wealth. You have the allocation, 50% anchor, 20% AI engine, 20% consumer disruptor, and 10% financial shield. The blueprint is yours. The only question left is, do you have the conviction to execute it? If you do, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment with your favorite pick, and let's beat the market together. Peace.